Hello everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to my top 10 best perks for Hardcore mode in Fallout New Vegas. Hardcore mode can be activated at the very start of the game. Once activated, aid items will either heal the player over time or remove radiation over time instead of instantly. Additionally, limbs can only be restored with doctor's bags, auto docs, or by visiting a doctor. And finally, the player will need to maintain their hunger, thirst and sleep or they will die. In this mode, there are some perks that I think will be best to take in Hardcore mode. As always, there are timestamps in the description if you wish to skip to a particular perk, but without further ado, let's get into the video. First up is World Gourmet. This perk can be taken at level 2 and is a Dead Money DLC perk. The perk also requires an endurance of 6 as well as 45 into survival. Once taken, the perk grants a 25% resistance to addiction, snack food grants an additional 50% increase to health, and finally some alcohol can even grant the player some health. This perk is useful especially at the start of the game as the player finds their feet. Although the player may not use chems early on in the game, the increased health bonus to aid items that will also help with hunger and dehydration can help in that regard. Next up is Strong Back and Burden to Bear. Strong Back can be taken at level 8 and requires a strength and endurance of 5. Once taken, this perk increases the player's carry weight by 50 pounds. Burden to Bear can be taken at level 30 and is a Lonesome Road DLC perk. The perk also requires a strength and endurance of 6. Once taken, this perk will also increase the player's carry weight by 50 pounds. Both of these perks will be very useful due to Hardcore making ammo count towards the player's carry weight. Not only are the perks good for that wish to carry a lot of aid weapons or armor, it is also good for those that wish to carry various types of ammunition. Next up is Pack Rat. This perk can be taken at level 8 and requires an intelligence of 5 as well as a barter skill of 70. Once taken, any item the player carries that has a weight of 2 or less will weigh half as much. This perk is best combined with the previous perk mentioned, particularly with aid items such as food and ammo. Although one ammo round on its own doesn't weigh much, when carrying large amounts of it the numbers can quickly go up and this perk can give you a bit more breathing room. Next up is Hit the Deck. This perk can be taken at level 12 and requires an explosive skill of 70. Once taken, the perk provides a DT of 25 to the player against explosives. This perk is a good one to take regardless, however it becomes even more useful in trying to avoid crippled limbs. Due to Hardcore mode needing you to use a doctor's bag or see a doctor to heal crippled limbs, this perk can be very useful in that regard, especially if the player triggers traps. Next up is Long Haul. This perk can be taken at level 12 and requires an endurance of 6 as well as a barter skill of 70. Once taken, the player will be able to fast travel when they're over encumbered. This is a very good quality of life perk when it comes to weight of items such as ammo. If the player needs to visit a doctor to heal or to sell items, this perk removes the need to drop items in order to travel somewhere quickly. This is more useful for those that like to hoard items in their travels even with weight restrictions. Next up is Light Step. This perk can be taken at level 14 and requires a perception and agility skill of 6. Once taken, the player will never set off enemy mines or floor based traps. This perk is also a very good quality of life perk, not needing to be as wary around traps and should help to avoid damage as well to limbs. This perk is also extremely helpful within the Dead Money DLC for those that will play through it, as the beginning area is littered with traps and can kill you very easily. Overall, this perk will make your time in Hardcore just a little easier. Next up is Chemist. Chemist can be taken at level 14 and requires a medicine skill of 60. Once taken, consumable effects last twice as long. This perk is incredibly useful for Hardcore as essentially all aid items will now last twice as long due to the items such as Stimpaks healing the player over time. This effect also extends to chem effects, making items such as Turbo or Implant GRX even better, however the healing benefits will also allow you to save your aid items. Next up is Adamantium Skeleton. Adamantium Skeleton can be taken at level 14. Once taken, damage to limbs will be reduced by 50%. Much like perks previously discussed, this will help in preventing crippled limbs during combat or being damaged. The perk will help reduce the amount of doctor's bags the player will need to use or the amount of caps they need to spend in healing their limbs. This perk is also an overall good perk to have as damage is reduced and is beneficial no matter if you're playing Hardcore or not. Next up is Jury Rigging. Jury Rigging can be taken at level 14 and requires a repair skill of 90. Once taken, the perk allows the player to repair their items within similar items. Rather than needing the exact same item to repair another item, as long as they share similar characteristics, the perk will allow more variety in what you can use to repair items. Not only is this useful in getting rid of items you may not need and save on weight, but can also be beneficial in making caps as you can repair items and then sell them to vendors. This will also help in keeping the conditions of your equipment up without needing to pay vendors or machines to repair your items for you. The final perk is Them's Good Eatin. Them's Good Eatin can be taken at level 20 and is an Old World Blues DLC perk. The perk also requires a survival skill of 55. Once taken, any living NPC killed by the player has a 50% chance of having thin red paste or blood sausage on them. This perk also unlocks campfire recipes to turn these items into better versions of themselves. Not only is this a good source of caps as each of these items sell for a lot of caps, but it's also a very good item for healing in the game. Although these items do not help with hunger or dehydration, the healing effects combined with the perk Chemist can mean you can have an almost infinite source of healing due to the amount of creatures you will kill. And there we have the top 10 best perks for hardcore mode in Fallout New Vegas. I hope you find this video helpful, and as always, thank you for watching.